This last week, Granite State Democrats celebrated the signing of the infrastructure bill in Washington and President Joe Biden's decision to make New Hampshire his first stop on a nationwide tour to tout the benefits of that $1.2 trillion package. Flanking President Biden as he visited a red-listed bridge in Woodstock was Congressman Chris Pappas, and the congressman is connecting with us this morning from Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us, Representative.
Hi, Adam. Great to see you.
So let's start with the president's visit. We spoke with a local man in Woodstock who says he's glad the bridge is going to be fixed, but that's not problem number one for him. He was saying he's on a fixed income, he's looking at energy prices, and he's not going to be able to afford home heating this winter. So clearly, the infrastructure bill, big win. But is that the most pressing need in this moment?
Well, infrastructure is something that we have to do to get this country moving in the right direction and to create the framework of economic success. And there are some short and long-term goals that we'll achieve with an infrastructure program, including connecting New Hampshire communities and businesses with high-speed broadband, making sure that we're repairing roads and bridges. That is essential to get goods to market and to support the needs of our communities, making sure that we have wastewater and drinking water systems that are modern, safe, and effective in New Hampshire. So we're going to see a significant bump in the investment that's coming to our state. That is going to help increase productivity. It's going to help us make sure that we're moving forward in a way where we can control costs better. There are benefits to the supply chain, including investments in port infrastructure, in our roads and bridges that will facilitate goods getting to market. But obviously, that individual hit on something that's critically important. There are significant economic headwinds right now in New Hampshire and across the country and really around the world based on the shock that we have seen from the COVID-19 pandemic. So a few thoughts on that front. We've been working for the better part of the last year and a half on making sure that our supply chains are strong. I'm a member of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, and we've been working with the maritime industry to make sure that we have mariners in place so that our shipping lanes can be as productive and efficient as possible. We know there are significant backups in our ports right now, and that can be addressed in part by making sure that we attract more individuals to be CDL drivers. That's a provision that's in the infrastructure bill that will help. But when it comes to energy costs, there are steps this administration can take that we've been urging them to take that will help lower prices this winter and ensure that people can afford it. Well, first of all, we've got about $25 million that's coming to New Hampshire for the LIHEAP program that's going to ensure that people can heat their homes and get access to assistance where need be. Secondarily, we've got to make sure that the oil companies aren't ripping us off, because the delta between the profits and their costs has been growing over the course of the pandemic. They're now reaping record profits, and we've got to hold them accountable. But we also have to make sure that as we move forward, we are using the Strategic National Petroleum Reserve and that we are ensuring that exports aren't going to other countries when we should be using that supply right here in New England to heat our homes and across the country to power our vehicles. And so those are some of the steps that we're asking the administration to take. I'm hopeful that we'll see some progress, but we've got to make sure that the programs are there to ensure that every New Hampshire household is able to stay warm this winter. That is something that's top of mind for me, and we're going to continue to stay on this issue.
When it comes to the next big spending bill, we're in a bit of a pickle because you might be voting on that before this segment airs. But does this have to be paid for? Does the Congressional Budget Office have to say this bill is paid for before this earns your support? Or if it doesn't say that, are you going to vote against this?
Ultimately, the bill has to be paid for, and the Congressional Budget Office score will tell us further information about where all that comes out. We do think there's more of a significant upside to the legislation than maybe even the CBO recognizes, but we've got to be fiscally responsible as we move forward. This is unlike the 2017 tax cut that went to millionaires and billionaires that was not paid for. We've got to make sure these investments are paid for by offsets, and we can go after corporations that are taking profits and jobs overseas, and high wealth Americans, people earning more than $10 million a year who should be paying their fair share. The investment needs to go to the right place. And this is where we can help bolster supply chains, lower costs, make sure that working families can make it. We're going to make an investment in the middle class by cutting taxes. We've got this child tax credit that has been making a huge difference for New Hampshire families over the last year. We want to extend that. This would take on the big drug companies to make sure that we can lower the cost of prescription drugs. That's an issue I hear about every day. I've got a constituent who shares an affliction with her daughter, they take one prescription because they can't afford two. This would help put a lid on that. And for folks who need insulin, it would cap it at $35 a month. So those are just some of the steps that are really important to help families in New Hampshire make it. And in addition to that, the issue of childcare is something that is top of mind that this bill will address. It will cap expenses for families at 7%, make an investment in the childcare infrastructure of this country, which is important for our families and making sure our kids have a great start. But it's also critically important to make sure that folks aren't on the sidelines of this economy, that people can return to work. And that's one of the barriers that's been identified in my conversations with Granite Staters. So this is about supporting our families, increasing productivity, lowering costs, and cutting taxes for hardworking Granite Staters. And I'm looking forward to getting this bill done. And it's got to be paid for, and it's got to be fiscally responsible. And I think the bill, as it's laid out right now, the current framework, gets us there.
You mentioned the workplace. OSHA appears to be backing down from its enforcement of requirements for either vaccinating or testing workers at businesses over 100 employees. Your family runs a small business. I'm sure you've put yourself in the shoes of someone trying to implement a rule that many feel would be too onerous for business officials and owners to do. Did it ever make sense to you to try and do something this way?
Well, look, I thought from the very beginning that OSHA is not necessarily equipped to be able to enforce something as sweeping as this. They have trouble keeping up with their current workload. And if you talk to any business owner, they've had experiences with OSHA over the years that aren't exactly welcoming and aren't exactly productive. But what is clear here is that we need to get to see more people vaccinated in New Hampshire and across the country. We're seeing cases increase. We have a hospitalization number right now in New Hampshire that is matching the highs from last winter. We're in a dangerous situation. So getting booster shots out, making sure folks are vaccinated is critically important. But we also have to make sure that we're assisting businesses and communities and healthcare networks that are trying to get to the right place in terms of this overall pandemic. So that's why we've been relaying concerns that we've heard from businesses to the federal government, to the Biden administration. We need to provide some additional flexibility for folks to be able to help encourage folks to get vaccinated. We also need to do a lot more with testing because, if you're asking businesses to either require vaccinations or to test individuals on a weekly basis, we don't have the testing capacity right now to do that. And there's questions about who would pay for it. So I think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, but it shouldn't take our eye off the ball in terms of encouraging as many people as possible to get vaccinated right now. Requirements have proven effective in certain industries and in certain sectors. And I would like to see, more Granite Staters get their booster shots and get vaccinated, especially as the numbers are increasing.
Let's move to that dramatically redrawn 1st Congressional District that just came out of committee there in Concord. Underneath the cool, calm, and collected exterior, you're a very competitive guy. Can you win in the map that exists now coming out of that committee for the 1st Congressional District?
Well, look, I think it shouldn't matter, what an elected official says about a particular district. I think when it comes down to it, the people should have the say in our elections. And that's why I think so many are finding the proposal out of the House committee so offensive, because it's blatant gerrymandering. It's seeking to pick winners and losers and really rendering the votes of everyday Granite Staters virtually moot in the next election. And that's part of the polarization that we have here in Washington right now. There are so many members of Congress that only have to worry about winning a primary. They don't even talk to the broad swath of independents and folks in the middle who turn out for a general election. I worry that that's the path that we're going down here with gerrymandering. But look, we're willing to compete anywhere. And I think the ideas that we're talking about, making a difference for Granite Staters, delivering results on things like lowering the cost of prescription drugs and making childcare more affordable and getting people back to work safely, those are things that work in Democratic communities and Republican communities. So, we're going to continue to, campaign wherever we need to be. But right now, the job is about delivering results, about hearing the people of New Hampshire, and about addressing some of the nation's toughest challenges here in Washington. That's where my focus is going to be. There's going to be plenty of time for campaigning.
Well, do you believe you can win in that proposed district?
Absolutely. Democrats can win anywhere in New Hampshire if they show up, if they're very clear with New Hampshire voters what they believe and where they show that they've been doing the work. And I'm someone who's here in Washington, who's working on bipartisan solutions, who's achieving results for New Hampshire. We'll take that message anywhere in New Hampshire.
All right, Congressman Chris Pappas, thanks so much for joining us on Close Up.
Thanks, Adam. Take care.